You know, it feels like the economy is sending us some seriously mixed signals lately. On one hand, you hear all this talk about layoffs and prices going up, but on the other, you see reports that major retailers are having these huge, booming sales. It's confusing, right? So what is actually going on with our spending? Let's dig in and unpack this paradox. And that's really the million-dollar question here. It's not as simple as saying we're spending more or less. Something much deeper seems to be shifting in how we all think about our purchases. The answer? Well, it's not what you might think, but the data tells a really fascinating story.
And here is that contradiction in black and white. You've got these clear signs of strength. Stores like Walmart, TJ Maxx, and Ross are posting really solid sales growth, but at the exact same time, we're seeing major signs of stress. White-collar layoffs are still happening, inflation is stubbornly high, and consumer confidence has just plummeted. So how can both of these things be true at once?
To solve this puzzle, we have to start with the pressure that, let's be honest, pretty much everyone's feeling in their wallets. And believe me, when you look at the numbers, they're telling a pretty clear story.
And this is the number that should really make you sit up and pay attention. The Consumer Confidence Index just dropped by 6.8 points in a single month. It went from 95.5 all the way down to 88.7. Now that is a steep, steep decline. But what does a number like that actually mean for you and me?
Well, put simply, the Consumer Confidence Index is basically a national mood ring for our finances. It's a measure of how we're all feeling about our jobs, our income, and where the economy is headed. So when a number like that drops so sharply, it's a huge red flag that there's a lot of financial anxiety out there.
And that anxiety isn't coming from nowhere. It's kind of like a perfect storm, right? You've got wages that just aren't keeping up, high-profile layoffs are making people nervous about job security, unemployment has ticked up a bit, and of course, inflation just keeps making everything more expensive. It's the classic financial squeeze.
Okay, so if everyone is feeling so squeezed, how on earth do you explain those strong sales numbers we saw earlier? This, my friends, is where the story gets really, really interesting.
And this one sentence, honestly, it cracks the whole paradox wide open. It's not that people have slammed the brakes on spending altogether. Nope, they've just gotten way more strategic about where that money goes, hunting for the absolute most bang for their buck. And you can see this massive strategic shift right here in the numbers. I mean, look at this growth. TJ Maxx saw its sales jump by nearly 5% in the fourth quarter. Ross is also up over 1%. These aren't luxury brands. They're the definition of value-focused stores. This is where the money is flowing. And while that's happening, we're seeing a pullback in other areas. People are hitting the brakes on big-ticket items. Think new cars, fancy electronics, and more expensive clothing. The takeaway here is crystal clear. Necessities and deals are in, luxury and big splurges are definitely out.
So this all adds up to what you could call the modern consumer playbook. Step 1, you feel that squeeze from inflation and all the uncertainty. Step 2, you cut back, you delay those major purchases. And Step 3, you reroute your everyday budget to stores where you know your money's going to go further. It's a defensive, smart, and totally logical strategy.
But this great value shift, well, it isn't the whole story. In fact, it kind of opens up a whole new can of worms, raising some deeper, maybe more troubling questions about the real health of the consumer. First things first, who exactly is driving this trend? Is this just a story about one specific income group, or are we looking at something much, much bigger happening across the entire economy? So who is it? Are we seeing the middle class trading down to try and protect their savings? Is it lower income shoppers who are being forced to stretch every single dollar they have? The most likely answer is, yeah, it's probably a combination of both, which would signal a widespread economic strain that's affecting millions of people.
And that leads us to maybe the most critical question of all. Okay, even with discounts and deals, if wages are flat and prices are still high, where's the money for all this shopping actually coming from?
And this is the big worry that keeps economists up at night. Is all this spending, even at value stores, being fueled by debt? Are people turning to their credit cards just to cover the basics? Because if they are, this strong consumer spending might just be built on a house of cards.
When you step back and look at the big picture, this shift to value shopping isn't just a temporary trend. It's a strategic response to some deep economic uncertainty. The real question we have to ask is whether this defensive playbook is the new normal. And what does it mean for our economy if shopping smart is no longer a choice, but a necessity for survival?